Hi, I'm Rosie from Total Chiropractic and welcome to Friday Tea Break. And today I have tea, which always makes me happy, and in my favourite mug, which also makes me very happy. So today you voted and we're going to talk about desk setup. Now, desk setup is super important. I would say for more or less anyone, because almost whatever job you do, you spend time in front of a computer, or perhaps you're spending time on a laptop or computer in your spare time. And if you're not sitting well, if your desk isn't set up right, then it causes you neck pain, back pain, and it can cause headaches and also sort of upper arm, shoulder, wrist problems as well. So I think part of the problem is sometimes we think, particularly if we're not sitting at our desk all day, oh, we're just going to hop on the computer and answer an email. And then suddenly, like an hour later, you found that you've fallen into Facebook or YouTube and you're looking at pictures of kittens fighting each other or whatever kittens do. And you've spent a lot of time in a bad posture. And you've done it not consciously, so maybe you've been slouching and you've not thought about how you're sitting. And that's when problems tend to creep up. Either that or we're just sitting badly and we don't realise it. So things to think about. If you are on a laptop, then in my opinion, should never, ever, 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 ever use a laptop on your lap. You need to use it on a desk and preferably on a riser. So I'm not sure if I can turn the camera here. Can you see my riser here? So this is this bit here, and it puts my laptop in a good position so that the top of my laptop here is level with my eyes. Okay, so then you need a separate keyboard and mouse, so you don't use the one on your laptop, and that means then that you can get a setup that's quite good, almost. If I turn my screen like this, you can just put something almost like a desktop, and that's what you need, because if you're hunched over your laptop down here like this, you can see it's putting your neck in a really bad position. It tightens your shoulder muscles up, and if you do that, you did it for 5 minutes once a week, you'd be fine. But if you're doing that regularly, if you're doing that for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then perhaps at the weekends, that's when you're going to start having problems. But the problem is, because we do that a lot, our bodies kind of get used to it. So although it hurts, we don't necessarily realise that that's what's causing the problem. So top tip for laptops is riser, separate keyboard and mouse, never, ever, ever use it on your laps. With desktops, it's the same kind of thing. You want to make sure that your screen is right in front of you, that you're not looking off to one side, because that's desperately bad for your neck. And I've had some patients, we just made that correction alone, that and a few treatments, and their problem's gone, because the thing that's causing their problem, looking off to one side, has stopped. So make sure that your screen is in front of you. If you have more than one screen, they need to be sitting next to each other and they need to be at the same height. Again, I've had patients who've been working off a desktop here and a laptop down here, and they've spent time basically going, and that's caused them neck problems. Again, if you did it for 5 minutes once a week, once a month, it wouldn't matter, but if you're doing it every day, it does matter. So make sure if you have more than one screen, they're next to each other and that they're the same height. And that height should be at eye level. And your screen shouldn't be too far away from you either. So a lot of times we have stuff that we do, maybe paperwork on our desk, so we push our screens away. But you should be able to touch the top of your screen with your hand. If it's any further away than that, then you're going to start doing that thing where you start leaning forwards to look at your screen, and that's going to cause you problems. So you want to be able to touch it, not too far away. Then the next thing that we talk about is mice. We tend to all use them. We need to make sure that they're in quite close to us. So often we tend to do that thing, you can see here, where your arm starts reaching out to one side and you're using your mouse off here. That causes a lot of stress in the muscles that move the shoulder around. Muscles that move your shoulder around are really good at working at kind of direct angles like this, but they're not good at working at angles like that. So make sure you bring your mouse in quite close to you here. That will help you quite a lot as well. And also, so we've gone through that. So basically screens next to each other, a distance that you can touch them, and at eye level. Mouse and keyboard in close, don't have your arm off to one side here, excuse me, here to use them. And then we talk about sitting. So where you sit is really important. Your feet should be able to touch the ground. If you're quite short like me, then you may need to have some sort of footrest or a really big book or something to put your feet on so they can touch the ground. And even if you're not short and you're tall, don't put them on your chair legs. A lot of people rest their feet on their chair legs. It's not good for your feet. You want them on the ground. Also, do not sit on your feet. It's really easy to get into really weird habits of sitting that you don't know that you do. So I've had a patient recently who has been sitting on their feet when they're working, and that's caused quite a lot of back pain. So don't sit on your feet. Ideally, you'd have your knees hips apart, hip distance apart, and your feet on the ground. Try not to cross your legs. It's not good for you. I know I do it all the time, but try and not do it. It will help. And then the last thing, because people think about chairs, people worry a lot about whether their chair is good or not. Mostly the problem is that people don't tend to use their chairs. So you can see the back of my chair, a lot of people slouch like this. So therefore their lower back isn't actually touching the chair. Whereas if you sit upright so your back is touching the chair, then your chair can support you. The other thing that people tend to do is to lean forward, so they're kind of working in this position. And again, your back is not being supported, your muscles are having to do the work rather than the chair. So sit back in the chair. And then finally we come to how long you're spending sitting in your chair or sitting at your desk. So the gold standard, if you want your gold star, you need to get up every 20 minutes from your desk. Now that's not always possible, but that's your aim, is you get up every 20 minutes and move around. If you can't get up that frequently, then maybe you might want to aim for twice an hour or at least once an hour. Now you don't have to walk very far, you maybe walk to the end of your office and back, you might just go to the loo, go and make a cup of tea. But the longer you spend sitting, the longer your muscles and joints tighten up in that position. So you need to start moving around and getting up and down quite frequently. Because also, the more you move around, then the less chance you are to get into a worse and worse posture where you're kind of sitting forwards like this. So, if I recap quickly through all the points we said today. If you're using laptops for work, they must never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, be used for long periods on your back. On your lap. They need to be on a riser with a separate keyboard and mouse. With all screens, they need to be right in front of you, whether this is a desktop, a laptop, whatever, right in front of you. And if you have more than one screen, they need to be sitting next to each other and both at the same height. You should be able to touch your screen with your hand. It shouldn't be too far away from you. And you need to have a separate keyboard and mouse that are kept both quite close to you. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're sitting well. So don't sit on your feet, don't cross your legs, and have your feet resting on the ground, and sit back in your chair. Lots of people's chairs are absolutely fine for what they need, but they're not actually using them because they're too busy either slouching with their bottom forwards or leaning with their top half forwards. So I've written a blog about how to set up your desk and sit well, so I'll pop the link there for you to have a look at. But I hope you found that helpful. My name's Rosie from Total Chiropractic. Goodbye.